the fact we avoid. According to Pew Research, about 31% of adults in the United States are not married and not in any committed partnership. This is not a small group. It is not a temporary trend. It is a stable part of modern adult life. Yet when people hear this fact, they often react emotionally. They assume something is missing. They assume fear, failure, or emotional damage. But psychology asks a different question. Not, what is wrong with these people? But, what patterns does their mind follow, and why? Because long-term singleness is rarely random. It is usually the result of learning. The brain learns from cost. Every close relationship has a cost. Not only pain after a breakup, but daily cost, time, energy, attention, compromise, emotional responsibility. People who stay single for a long time often learn this cost very clearly. Sometimes from their own relationships, sometimes from watching parents, friends, or colleagues. They saw relationships that required constant repair, emotional imbalance, loss of focus, and personal direction. The human brain is not romantic by default. It is practical. When effort is high and stability is low, the brain adapts. It does not panic. It does not complain. It quietly changes strategy. This is not avoidance. It is optimization. From the outside, this can look like emotional distance. From the inside, it often feels like self-respect. Early filtering and compatibility. Some people do not date less, they stop earlier. They notice patterns quickly, how someone handles stress, how they communicate disagreement, how they treat boundaries. And when something feels off, they do not wait. This behavior is often misunderstood. Others call it being too selective or too critical. But psychologically, this is early filtering. Instead of falling in love first and suffering later, their mind checks structure first. They are not asking, "Do I feel excited right now?" They are asking, "Can this connection stay healthy over time?" This reduces emotional chaos, but it also reduces opportunity. The risk is clear. Sometimes the filter protects too much. Sometimes curiosity never gets a chance to grow. This is one reason some people stay single, not because they reject love, but because they reject instability. Emotional economy. Emotional connection costs energy. Listening deeply, being present, managing conflict, explaining needs. People who stay single often learn to value emotional economy. They do not avoid feelings. They manage them carefully. Over time, the brain learns not every connection deserves full emotional access. So emotional doors open slower and close faster. This creates a calm inner life, but it also creates distance. Others may describe them as reserved, independent, hard to read. The danger is not emotional coldness. The danger is gradual isolation. Efficiency feels good until it turns into silence. Control, structure, and identity. Relationships change structure. Daily routines adjust. Personal time shrinks. Identity becomes shared. For some people, this feels natural. For others, it feels destabilizing. People who stay single often rely on a strong internal structure. Routines, values, personal goals. This structure gives them stability and meaning. They protect it carefully. Not because they dislike intimacy, but because they know how fragile structure can be. So staying single becomes a way to protect identity, not to escape connection, but to preserve coherence. This motivation is rarely spoken, but it is powerful. Independence versus avoidance. Here is where confusion often appears. Independence and avoidance can look similar, but they feel very different inside. Independence feels grounded. Avoidance feels tense. Independent singleness leaves space. Avoidant singleness builds walls. The difference is subtle, and many people move between the two without noticing. Psychology does not judge this movement, it observes it. Someone can stay single by choice for years and suddenly realize that choice has become a shield. The strategy worked until life changed. Social pressure and misunderstanding. Modern culture still treats relationships as proof of success. Being single often requires explanation. Being partnered rarely does. This creates pressure. People who stay single learn to defend their position, even when they are content. Over time, this defense becomes part of identity. They stop explaining. They stop correcting assumptions. They become quieter, not lonely, but less visible. This social invisibility is rarely discussed, but it shapes behavior deeply. The trade-off. Staying single is not a mistake, and it is not a solution. It is a trade-off. More control, more clarity, more personal space, but also less shared emotional support, less daily closeness, less spontaneous connection. The problem is not the choice itself. The problem appears when the system becomes rigid. When it can no longer adapt, it stops serving the person it was built to protect. If you stay single, the question is not, what is wrong with me? The better questions are, what have I learned? What am I protecting? And does this strategy still fit my life today? There is no universal answer, only awareness. And awareness is not loud, it is quiet and honest. This is the if verse, the place where your mind becomes easier to understand. Subscribe. There's so much more to explore. Thank you for watching.